Bootstrap provides default styles for most HTML5 elements, and since technical writing often requires quoting either passages of code or creating mathematical formulas on a web page or referencing results that appear on a computer screen, HTML5 added several elements to help writers who create that type of content. And fortunately, Bootstrap has provided some default styling for them. And so whenever we created the HTML5 elements bootstrap.html file several lessons ago, we looked at just briefly the fact that there are these default elements like code and KBD for keyboard input, SAMP for samples or values that are passed back on a computer screen to the user, and then var for variables, whether that be within a mathematical equation or variables as they're referenced inside of code, inside of like a paragraph, like I use it here. You can see then the default styling for these. If we were to Control F, look for code, and there you go. Yeah, so code will have this light gray background by default with some red text. Keyboard instructions, you can see that it has a black background around the corners, white text standing out very boldly. And then sample, you can see it kind of puts it into more of a courier font rather than a monospaced courier font rather than the sans serif font that's typically used in Bootstrap. And then finally, you can see that when we reference a variable name like X, for example, kind of has an italicization to it. However, there is one additional thing that a lot of people use, and that's pre-formatted, or the pre-tag or element in HTML5 to create ASCII art or to use it for presenting code, or whatever the case might be. My little guy, my bird is off a little bit here. Maybe I need to add some more spacing for him. However, there is one Bootstrap class that's been added for the purpose of working with the pre-tag. So I'm going to do this. Going to go to actually add a new page just for that to demo it real quick. And we'll call this pre-scrollable.html. And here I'm going to grab the entire HTML5 elements bootstrap.html file and paste it in. And I'm going to take just a moment here and strip out everything except the pre functionality. And for good measure, I went ahead and left in some of the other items that we just talked about too with the code. And let me, whoops, I think what happened here is that belongs over there. Sometimes these things get out of whack a little bit. All right, good. Now, at least my bird is back in good shape. And now I want to go to pre. And suppose I want to add a large section of code. Let's say, for example, I've got a long C# example that I want to paste in a web page. I can use an open and close pre-tag like so. And when I do, let's take a look at what this will look like then on our web page before we apply the pre-scrollable to it. All right, so you can see that we do get some scrollability here left and right as items go off to the right-hand side of the screen. But there is a lot of text here. I'd probably prefer if it didn't take up so much space, and if you needed it, you could just scroll and look through the part that you wanted. So to combat this, all you got to do is add a class. Whoops, wrong spot. Here we go. Class equals pre-scrollable, and now when you do this and we rerun the app, it'll give us a 350 pixel tall area inside of which our code will be rendered. And if it takes up more space than that, then we get a horizontal scroll bar, so you can get to all of that. And we should probably be able to nest this inside of a cell so that it's not conflicting with two confusing horizontal, or rather vertical scroll bars right next to each other. But that's really the only addition that Bootstrap made for any of the HTML5 tags that are used for pre-formatted text, for code, for variables, for samples, for keyboards, things of that nature. But it does style them all up to look really nice. All right, that's all I wanted to say. We'll continue on the next video. Thanks.